Everybody knows that there were occasional flare-ups in the Beatles over creative process and over who was going to play what where, and for the most part, of course, it worked out brilliantly for them, and they created some of the most timeless and important classic rock music that was ever laid down. Well, in this following interview clip, we can listen to Paul McCartney describe an argument that he had with George Harrison over the arrangement of the song Hey Jude. And the reason that I find this particular point of contention so interesting is because we can get a really clear look at the debate. It's clearly one flavor over another. You will either like George Harrison's approach or you will like Paul McCartney's approach. So let's listen to what Paul McCartney had to say, and then I want to ask you for your opinion. You decide which approach was better. And let's start off with Paul McCartney talking about the incident surrounding Hey Jude.
No, I don't want that. That's not what I hear.
And this is where things get a bit difficult because,
Hey Jude, listen,
don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better.
So George Harrison wanted to put a call and response motif into the song, where each time Paul McCartney sang a lyric, the guitar would answer it. And that's something that is rather common in Beatles songs, the call and response motif, just as it's a very common thing in blues music, it's a very common thing in gospel music. So it's not that unusual of an arrangement. It's not that surprising to me that that was something that occurred to George Harrison to do. When you hear McCartney kind of mocking it in the interview the way that he did there, it presents it in its worst possible light. However, had the Beatles chosen to follow George Harrison's instinct and really did a good job of recording the guitars and overdubbed additional guitars and used effects and did some great production work to elevate it, it would sound entirely different than what the feeling is there with McCartney demonstrating it on the Howard Stern show. Keep that in mind as you try to envision what the song might have sounded like had the guitar parts been left in, which of course brings me to the question that I want to ask you. Do you think McCartney was right in having the guitar left out of the song, or do you think that Harrison's instincts to put a call and response into the song would have added something meaningful to the track, that it was more of a mistake to leave the guitar out than to put it in? And the fact that the Beatles opted to leave the moments of silence in that space in the track shows how sophisticated they were when it came to song arrangements and production, as well as how much time and focus they put into every single track that they did. Whereas there are bands out there who know what works for them, and they know exactly what to do the minute that they line up and get the instruments plugged in. The Beatles always seem to be searching for new things with confidence. That's how I would characterize the Beatles as creative artists, as searchers with extreme confidence. So I am pretty sure that had McCartney said, well, okay, fine, go ahead and put the guitar on there, the one difference would be it would be more like the other Beatles songs that people had heard before, whereas the absence of guitar and the piano-driven ballad nature of it, as well as its kind of epic but lonely sound, provided just a slight departure from the expected, and therefore satisfies the Beatles' kind of incessant need to always be doing something new and different. Now, my feeling is that the sparsity of the song, Hey Jude, the silence that's in the song, is very important. There is a questioning element to the lyric and an unresolved emotional kind of crisis in there, that the silence, the parts of the song where there is no music playing, allow the listener to kind of go into this contemplative state. However, that said, I do think that the song is a call and response song. The lyric is a direct address to another person. So the call and response motif makes a whole lot of sense, and like I said before, they had done it a lot. The Beatles had used the guitar and vocal call and response motif, as I say, a very prevalent technique in the blues and in gospel music. So I can clearly see George Harrison's inspiration here. But if I had to make a final decision, if I were a producer or something and it were up to me to decide, do we leave the guitar line in or are we going to take it out? I actually think I would go with McCartney's instinct here and leave it out because I like the silence. That said, had the guitar lines been put in as Harrison wanted, don't think they would have destroyed the song. I think they would have changed the song a little bit and made it a bit busier. So in the end, I believe they got the song right, as the Beatles almost always do. But it's a very interesting peek into the dynamics of the band and into genuine creative difference, where both sides had a legitimate basis for their point of view. This is what I think, but what really matters is what you think. So if you have an idea about this or any other topic connected to classic or contemporary music, please drop it in the section below, and remember to like and subscribe. Also, if you're enjoying the videos and you'd like to help out the channel, you can click on the thanks button right down there below the video, or if you prefer, you can click on the Buy Me a Coffee link down in the description box and leave a donation at the Buy Me a Coffee site. Finally, if like me, you sometimes need a bit of a financial boost around the holidays, you can click on the Capital One link in the description box and use their one-step application process to get yourself a reliable new credit card. And if you use the link down there to get the credit card, I will receive a small bonus I can use to help this channel. Thanks a lot.